You attract what you are, not what you pretend to be. Read that again and let it sink in. The world doesn't respond to your filters, your flexing, or the version of you that you put on display when you're trying too hard. It responds to something deeper, something raw, something real. So let's break the illusion and talk about what really makes you attractive. Not on the surface, but at the core. This isn't about six-packs, soft skin, or smooth lines. No, this is about energy, presence, discipline, and stillness. That's what makes someone magnetic, and today we're going to unpack all of it. But before we dive deep, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and stay with me till the end. Imagine this. You walk into a room, not dressed the best, not speaking the loudest, but every head turns. Why? Because you didn't bring noise. You brought gravity, like a mountain that doesn't move when the storm hits, like fire that doesn't beg to be seen. It just burns. Most people chase attraction like it's a performance. They dress it up, they speak a certain way, they fake confidence, mimic charm, and rehearse every move like they're auditioning for approval. But here's the harsh truth. No one wants to say out loud. Desperation smells, and real attraction is allergic to it. Attraction doesn't come from needing to be chosen. It comes from choosing yourself first, again and again, until it's no longer a choice but who you are. Away. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one." Don't waste your time trying to look valuable. Be valuable. Let me tell you something about Stoicism. It's not about being cold or emotionless. It's about learning how to own your emotions instead of leaking them everywhere. Once you master that, you become magnetic without saying a word. Real attractiveness isn't loud. It's the quiet confidence of someone who knows they don't need to chase anything because what's meant for them moves closer without force. Have you ever noticed how the sun never asks for attention, yet every flower grows toward it? That's what happens when your energy is aligned. People feel it even in silence. And hey, don't let the world fool you. It's not all about how you look. Sure, looks can catch an eye, but presence captures the soul. Your presence is built in the dark, in your habits, your silence, your ability to walk away, and your refusal to settle. That's when you become a storm in stillness. That's when people look at you and say, "I don't know what it is about them, but I feel it." So don't fall for the trap. You don't need to become louder, sexier, or more liked. You need to become more you fully, honestly, powerfully. And remember this, you're not here to beg for attention. You're here to become so grounded that attention begs for you. Type it in the comments right now. I attract by being me. Say it, own it. And if this hit you somewhere deep, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're just getting started. You don't attract with your face. You attract with your presence. Your energy introduces you before you speak. That's the kind of truth most people avoid because it's uncomfortable. It means that all the filters, the perfect outfits, the gym gains, and the polished smiles aren't the core of what draws people to you. They might catch attention, sure, but they don't hold it. They don't echo in someone's memory at 2 a.m. Your presence does, your stillness and your energy. That's the thing that lingers long after you've left the room. Imagine this. You're standing in a crowded place, not the tallest, not the most dressed up. You're not trying to be seen. You're just there, grounded, calm. And somehow people turn to look at you, not because you shouted for attention, but because you didn't. Wish you didn't. You carry something most people have forgotten how to hold. Peace. The kind of peace that says, I'm not here to impress. I'm here to be. Like the ocean that doesn't need to explain itself, yet pulls everything toward it. That's presence. And it's a rare, powerful thing. But I know the thoughts that creep into your head. What if I'm not enough? What if I blend in? What if no one ever really sees me unless I put on a show? You see others being loud, bold, constantly posting, constantly proving, and you wonder if that's what it takes. You question if you're falling behind because you're not performing the same way. But let me tell you the truth. The world won't. Desperation repels and real grounded presence attracts without lifting a finger. Most people think attraction is about standing out, but what they don't realize is that people are drawn to what makes them feel something. Presence isn't about performance, it's about connection. It's about creating safety without saying a word. It's about owning your space so deeply that others want to be near it, even if they don't know why. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be perfect. You need authentic energy that says, I don't need to be chosen. I choose myself. But yes, it's hard. In a world that tells you you're never enough, that you need more angles, more edits, more charm, more extroversion. You've been told to fix yourself before you've even discovered who you really are. So you grow up thinking you need to try to be attractive, that it's some role you need to rehearse instead of a presence you need to embody. And so you end up exhausting yourself, all while the people who stand still, firm, quiet, unfazed, somehow draw everyone in. And it makes you question everything. Here's the thing though, the loudest people in the room are often the most afraid. Stoicism teaches us to stop reacting, to stop chasing, to stop tying our value to outside noise. It teaches you to own your breath, own your silence, and to realize that the person with the calmest energy usually has the deepest roots. And that's what makes them attractive. Like a mountain that doesn't move, when the storm screams, you become unshakable. Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So ask yourself, what color is your energy carrying today? Insecurity, desperation, or calm certainty? Because people don't remember how well you dressed. They remember how you made them feel. And when your presence is rooted in self-respect, stillness, and quiet confidence, you don't have to say a word. The room already knows. So stop chasing the illusion. You don't need more. You need less noise, less pretending, less needing to prove. Let people come to your frequency, and if they can't match it, let them keep walking. You were never made to perform for people who only notice you when you're loud. Type this in the comments right now. My presence is my power. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you. Not through trying, but by being so grounded, so centered, so full of quiet energy that they feel you even in your silence. And stay with me because next, we're going deeper. We're going to talk about something even more powerful than charm. Your standards, why they're more attractive than your smile, and why the world starts chasing you the moment you start raising them. Your standards are more attractive than your smile. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow. That one stings a bit, doesn't it? It forces you to stop blaming them and start checking yourself. Your standards aren't just invisible lines drawn in the sand. They're loud signals radiating through your energy, telling the world, this is what I accept. This is what I allow. This is how I love me. Whether you realize it or not, people are always watching. Not your words, but your boundaries. Not your smile, but your self-respect. Have you ever met someone who's charming, good-looking, charismatic, but something about them just doesn't pull you in? You can't explain it, but the attraction doesn't stick. You eventually realize why. It's because they don't stand for anything. They're too available, too eager to please, too quick to agree, and too scared to say no. As beautiful as they are, you can't trust them because they fold the second pressure shows up. That's the difference. That's why standards will always outshine surface-level charm. People are drawn to those who make them rise, not the ones who shrink for approval, not the ones who nod to everything, not the ones who laugh when they don't feel like laughing. People crave leadership, not control, but certainty. And the truth is, most people don't have certainty in themselves. So when they meet someone who does, someone who won't bend for breadcrumbs, they feel it deep. But here's the hard part, my friends. Most people are terrified to raise their standards. They're afraid that if they draw the line too firmly, they'll be left alone, that if they say, "This is not enough," no one will stay. That fear convinces them to settle, to lower their worth 1 inch at a time until they're just a version of themselves they don't even recognize. Stoicism steps in here and reminds us, it is better to be alone in truth than surrounded by people who only tolerate your silence. So let me ask you something. What are you tolerating just to avoid being alone? What behaviors have you let slide because you didn't want to seem too much or too high maintenance? What version of yourself did you shrink to keep someone close? These questions hurt, but they're necessary. Because until you become someone who can look in the mirror and say, "I don't need you to stay if you don't honor my value," you'll always attract people who only love the convenience of you, not the core of you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That same principle applies to how you let people treat you. If it doesn't feel right, stop allowing it. If it's not true to your values, walk away. That's what creates real attraction. Unshakable standards built on inner peace, not ego. Look, I get it. It's not easy, especially in a world where everyone's screaming, "Just be easygoing, go with the flow, don't be difficult." But being easygoing has never built empires. Going with the flow has never saved your heart from being stepped on. And if not being difficult means not speaking up for what matters to you, then you're not being kind. You're being silent. And your silence tells them it's okay to give you less. There's power in being the one who says no, the one who walks away, the one who doesn't flinch when someone disrespects your time, your body, or your energy. Because those who are meant for you won't run from your standards. They'll rise to meet them. And those who walk away, good, they've just made space for something real. So don't fall for the idea that your smile is your strongest trait, the charm is what keeps them. No, it's your backbone, your ability to be kind and clear, soft and solid. That's what they'll remember. That's what makes you unforgettable. Type this in the comments right now. My standards protect my peace. Let them know, let you know. Show the world around you that you don't just carry self-worth in your words. You carry it in your actions. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about a secret most people misunderstand. A force that attracts without effort, without games. Something the world calls indifference. But when it's real, it becomes unstoppable. Indifference is magnetic, but only when it's real. The less you care, the more they chase. That quote gets thrown around like a weapon these days. You see it in memes, in dating advice, in sarcastic tweets, but most people miss the point entirely. Real indifference isn't about playing games. It's not about pretending you don't care when you do. It's not about ghosting people to look cool or acting cold to seem powerful. No, real indifference, the kind that pulls people in without you trying, comes from something much deeper. It comes from peace. It comes from knowing who you are and not needing external approval to feel valuable. Imagine two people standing on opposite sides of a room. One is waving frantically, trying to get attention, trying to impress, trying to be noticed. The other is just standing still, calm, collected, grounded. Guess which one has more gravity? Guess which one people feel drawn toward? It's the still one, the one who's not performing because their silence whispers confidence, their stillness screams self-trust, and that is magnetic. You can't fake it, you can't copy it. You either have it or you're still chasing it. But here's the thing, so many people try to be indifferent. They force themselves to not care, to play it cool, to act like they're unaffected. But deep down, they're boiling. They're checking their phone every 10 minutes, replaying conversations in their head, faking detachment while living in anxiety. And you know what? That kind of fake indifference doesn't attract. It repels. People can feel when your silence is a mask. They can feel when you're trying too hard not to try. That kind of energy is confusing, and confusion doesn't build attraction, it breaks it. So what's the difference? Real indifference isn't forced, it's free. It's the kind of calm you find when you no longer need someone to validate you. It's the kind of strength that says, if you stay, beautiful. If you leave, that's okay too. It's not arrogance, it's not bitterness, it's clarity. It's the result of doing the inner work, facing your fears, letting go of the idea that your worth depends on someone else's approval. That's Stoicism in action, not shutting your heart down, but not letting your heart be owned by anything outside of your control. You see, when you stop needing something, you give it space to come to you. That's the paradox. The moment you stop obsessing over being liked, people start liking you more. The second you stop chasing them, they start wondering why you're not. That mystery, that space, that's where attraction grows, because people are drawn to what they can't control. And nothing is more uncontrollable than someone who has nothing to prove. But getting to that level isn't easy. It takes time. You have to untangle all the old stories in your head. The story that says, if they ignore me, I must not be enough. The story that says, if I don't try harder, they'll leave. You have to unlearn the belief that love is something you earn by sacrificing your peace. You don't earn love by begging. You attract love by being whole, with or without it. Seneca once wrote, "He who is brave is free." And I'll tell you this, real indifference takes bravery, because it means letting go of control. It means not forcing outcomes. It means standing in the unknown and saying, I trust myself, no matter what happens. That's terrifying at first, but once you taste it, once you realize that your peace can't be stolen just because someone doesn't text you back or validate your worth, you become untouchable. And untouchable people become unforgettable. So stop faking it. Stop pretending not to care while secretly drowning in overthinking. Do the real work. Heal. Build and ground yourself in who you are, not who you're trying to impress. Then watch what happens. Watch how people start leaning in. Watch how their tone shifts. Watch how you stop craving attention and start commanding it without lifting a finger. Type this in the comments right now. My peace makes me powerful. Say it, own it. Let them see it. Let you see it. Show the world around you that you're done playing emotional chess for someone else's affection. You're done performing. You're rooted now. Stay with me, because next we're stepping into the mirror, into the hard truth. We're going to talk about what you're accepting and why that's exactly what you keep attracting. You attract what you accept, not what you chase. What you're not changing, you're choosing. Let that one sting a little, because this one cuts deep. It's not about looks, it's not about luck, it's about what you're allowing into your life day after day while hoping for something better to magically appear. You say you want loyalty, love, respect, but what are you actually settling for? What do you let slide? What have you convinced yourself is not that bad? That right there is what you're attracting, not what you want, not what you dream about, but what you tolerate. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you walk into a room full of people and hold out a plate with your standards on it. Your time, your values, your energy. Now imagine you hand that plate to every person you meet and say, take what you want. No rules, no boundaries, just vibes. What do you think happens? They pick at it, leave crumbs, walk away, and you're left wondering why you feel empty, why they didn't stay, why it never feels like enough. But the truth is, you never required more. You allowed them to feast on your worth without earning a seat at your table. Most people don't realize this, but every time you let someone mistreat you, every time you stay silent when you should speak, every time you laugh off something that cut deep just to keep the peace, you're training them. You're teaching them how to treat you, and you're teaching yourself what you'll accept. Over time, that becomes your new normal, and that normal is what you'll keep attracting over and over again. But here's the twist. You don't need to chase better. You need to stop accepting less. The second you start saying, no, this isn't enough for me, the whole game shifts. You don't need to be louder. You don't need to be more attractive, more impressive, more anything. You just need to become unavailable to people who aren't offering what aligns with your peace. That alone will filter your entire life. Now I get it. I really do. You're scared. Scared that if you raise your standards, no one will meet them. That if you stop accepting the bare minimum, you'll be alone. But let me ask you this. What's worse, being alone for a little while or being surrounded by people who drain you, break you, confuse you, and still leave? Loneliness hurts, sure, but betrayal by the people you settled for, that's another level of pain. Stoicism teaches us not to fear solitude because in solitude we meet ourselves, we get clear. And once you're clear, you stop negotiating your worth. So don't fall for the trap. Don't think you're unlucky in love or cursed by timing. You're not. You're just stuck in a cycle of accepting what you don't actually want because deep down, you're afraid to lose people. But the moment you realize that letting go of the wrong ones is the only way to make space for the right ones, you stop fearing loss. You start choosing peace, and peace is what creates real attraction, the kind that stays. Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. But I'd add this, the quality of your relationships depends on the standards you hold. You can't attract deep love while accepting shallow effort. You can't call in a king or queen while entertaining clowns. You can't build something real with someone who doesn't even know how to respect themselves. So here's what you do. You look at your life, your friendships, your relationships, your situationships, your boundaries, and you ask, am I accepting this because I love it or because I'm afraid to lose it? If it's fear, it has to go. That's the law. That's the shift. That's how you stop attracting chaos and start attracting people who respect the energy you bring. Type this in the comments right now. I only attract what aligns. Let it be your reminder, your reset, your declaration that from this moment forward, your life is no longer open to anything that confuses your worth. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about something most people overlook in the noise. Silence. The kind of silence that builds power, confidence, and attraction without ever saying a word. Attraction grows in silence, not noise. Silence is a source of great strength. That's not just a poetic line. It's a truth most people are too uncomfortable to face. Silence in today's world is rare. We live in a culture that worships noise. Everybody's trying to talk over each other, prove something, perform something, post something. Constant noise, constant validation seeking, constant performance. But here's the twist. The world doesn't want to tell you that real attraction grows in the quiet, in the pause, in the breath between words, in the way someone holds themselves when they say nothing at all. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who doesn't talk too much, who doesn't overshare, who doesn't feel the need to dominate the room? But when they do speak, everyone leans in. That's not luck. That's not mystery for mystery's sake. That's discipline. That's self-trust. That's the power of silence. You see, when you're silent, not because you're afraid, but because you're calm, you give the world space to wonder. And people are always more drawn to what they can't immediately figure out. But here's the fear that comes up. If I'm quiet, they'll forget me. If I don't speak, I'll be invisible. If I don't chase, I'll be replaced. That's the noise in your own mind trying to convince you that your value is tied to how loud you can be. But my friends, that's a lie. Survival mode disguised as confidence. Because when you truly know your worth, you don't need to fill every silence. You're not scared of it. You own it. And when you do that, silence becomes louder than anything you could have said. You don't need to constantly post about how strong you are. You don't need to announce your healing every time you feel a little growth. You don't need to speak just to remind them you're here. Your presence, when rooted in peace, already speaks for you. In fact, some of the most attractive people are the ones who move through the world like they've got nothing to prove. They walk in silence, not because they're unsure, but because they're unbothered. Stoicism teaches restraint, the discipline of choosing when to speak, when to react, when to respond, and more importantly, when not to. It's easy to scream. It's easy to argue. It's easy to defend yourself when someone crosses a line. But silence, true intentional silence, that's a weapon. And it's a mirror, because when you go quiet, people are forced to sit with their own actions, with their own guilt, with their own emptiness. And that's when they feel you the most. We think attraction is built in conversation, but the truth is, it often begins in the absence of one. It's in the way someone remembers your calm, your discipline, the way you didn't react when everyone else would have exploded. That's unforgettable. That's rare. And rare will always be attractive. But yes, it's hard. It's hard to stay silent when your ego wants to prove a point. It's hard to be calm when your heart wants to scream. It's hard to walk away without an explanation, without closure, without giving them a taste of the pain they gave you. That restraint builds power. That builds presence. And that's what makes people remember you long after you're gone. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." One of the biggest ways we waste it is by spending our energy trying to be heard by people who were never listening in the first place. So instead, choose silence, not as a punishment, but as protection. Let them wonder. Let them sit with the gap. Let them feel the shift when you no longer need to speak to be felt. Type this in the comments right now. My silence speaks for me. Let it be your reminder, your power, your boundary. You don't need to be louder. You need to be clearer. And silence, when used with intention, is clarity at its highest level. Stay with me, because next, we're going to explore something even more powerful than silence: mystery. What you don't say, what you don't show, and what you keep sacred might just be the most attractive thing about you. Mystery is built by what you don't say. The most powerful person in the room is often the one who says the least. That might sound strange in a world where everyone's oversharing, overposting, and over-explaining. But that's exactly why it hits so hard. We've been taught that being known means being seen constantly, that if you don't reveal every part of your story, every emotion, every thought, you'll be forgotten. But let me tell you something real, something ancient, something powerful. Mystery isn't lost, it's given away. And when you protect it, you become unforgettable. Picture this. You're at a gathering surrounded by people who talk fast, joke loud, and dominate every space. Then there's this one person, quiet, calm, not shy, not awkward, just collected. You notice them not because they're trying to impress, but because they aren't. They don't speak unless it matters. They don't reveal unless it's earned. And instantly, without knowing anything about them, your mind starts wondering. Who are they? What are they thinking? What's their story? That's mystery, and that's attraction. But most people don't understand this. They think attraction comes from how much you show, how available you are, how quickly you respond, how deep you open up within the first few conversations. They think spilling everything equals connection. But here's the harsh truth. You cannot build longing where there is no distance. If someone already knows everything about you, what's left to discover? What's left to chase? What's left to earn? You see, mystery is not about playing games. It's not about manipulation. It's about value protection. It's about having a sacred inner world that not everyone gets to access. It's about being whole enough on your own that you don't need people to understand every piece of you to feel seen. Stoicism teaches that we must never place our peace in someone else's hands. So why give away your inner world to someone who hasn't proven they can protect it? I know what you're thinking. But if I don't open up, how will they know the real me? Won't they think I'm hiding something? Won't they lose interest? That's the fear talking. That's the noise that was planted in you by people who didn't have the patience to earn you. Let them think. Let them wonder. Because if they walk away because you didn't bleed on the first date, they were never strong enough to hold your truth anyway. The world might reward oversharing with likes and fake closeness, but deep down, we all know this truth. The most attractive people are the ones who leave you wanting more, the ones who don't over-explain, the ones who answer calmly, smile slightly, listen deeply, and then disappear into their own life. Not because they're avoiding you, but because they have a life. That kind of person lives rent-free in your mind, not because they were loud, but because they were quietly unforgettable. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." That means your inner world, your thoughts, your peace, your solitude is sacred. So don't dye it with outside noise. Don't let the world rush you into emotional exposure. Keep your truth close, not hidden, just protected. Because your story is not content, your past is not entertainment, and your dreams are not small talk. Let them earn access to your depth. And let me be clear. This doesn't mean you should be cold, distant, or emotionally unavailable. It means you should be intentional. It means you should have levels. Some people get the surface, a few earn the middle, and only the rarest get the core. And those who make it to the core will cherish it because they had to work for it. What's earned is always valued more than what's handed out for free. So start being that person, the one who doesn't give everything away just to be liked, the one who doesn't explain every move just to be understood, the one who doesn't need constant validation because their silence, their mystery, and their stillness already say everything. Type this in the comments right now. They'll feel me in my silence. Say it, show it. Let your presence speak. Let your depth speak. Let your mystery do the work. Stay with me, my friends. because next we're stepping into the kind of energy you can't fake. A trait so powerful, so undeniable, it leaves a glow around you wherever you go. We're talking about discipline and why it's the quiet force behind every truly magnetic person you've ever met. Your discipline is the aura they can't explain. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Read that again, because discipline isn't just about waking up early, hitting the gym, or sticking to a routine. It's about who you are when no one's watching. It's the quiet rhythm of your life that builds an invisible force around you. One that people feel without understanding why. That force, that glow, that's what makes you magnetic. It's not your looks, it's not your words, it's your energy shaped by the life you've committed to behind closed doors. Imagine someone walking into a room. They're not flashy, they're not loud, but there's something about them. The way they carry themselves, the way they look you in the eye without flinching, the way they speak slowly like someone who doesn't need to rush. They don't need attention, but somehow they command it. That's discipline, what living with structure, self-respect and intention looks like in human form. You can't fake it, you can't buy it, and that's why it's so attractive. It's earned, not worn. But most people don't want to hear this, because discipline isn't sexy on the surface. It's quiet, it's repetitive. It's you showing up day after day when no one claps. It's you saying no to quick dopamine and yes to long-term self-respect. It's turning off your phone to work on your goals. It's hitting the gym when your emotions say, stay in bed. It's choosing growth over comfort, truth over pleasure, and solitude over distraction. And that lifestyle builds an aura that speaks before you do. People don't always know why they're drawn to you when you're disciplined. They just feel it. They sense the clarity, the direction, the lack of chaos in your energy. You become the person who doesn't just float through life. You walk with intention, and that is rare. Most people are scattered. Most people are emotionally reactive, physically inconsistent, spiritually lost. But a disciplined person, they're like gravity. Others feel safer around them, even if they don't know why. Now I know what you're thinking. But what does discipline have to do with attraction? Everything. Because attraction isn't just about how you look. It's about how you make people feel. And disciplined people make others feel something powerful. Certainty. In a world full of confusion, doubt, and inconsistency, certainty is gold. When you show up with the same energy every day, when you're grounded, when you're clear about who you are, you become the lighthouse in their storm. And here's where Stoicism ties in. Discipline is one of its pillars. Not perfection, not control, but mastery over your impulses. A Stoic doesn't react to everything. They choose. They pause. They move based on values, not moods. And when you build your life on that foundation, you become deeply attractive. Not because you're chasing approval, but because you've built something solid within. Marcus Aurelius didn't glow because of charisma. He glowed because of discipline, wrapped in stillness. But yes, discipline is hard, especially at first, because it's lonely. You'll skip things your friends go to, you'll be misunderstood. You'll wake up before the world and grind in silence. There will be days when no one claps, when no one sees the effort, when it feels pointless. But trust me, they will feel it when you walk in the room. When you say nothing, but still shake the atmosphere. That's the presence only discipline can create. People are watching you. Not your photos, but your consistency. Not your words, but your habits. Not what you say you're building, but what your daily life proves you're building. The truth is, You don't have to announce that you're different. Your routine already whispers it. Every day you show up, every decision you make in silence. That's the real flex. That's what becomes your aura, the one they can't explain. The one they chase, even when they don't understand why. Type this in the comments right now. My discipline builds my power. Say it, claim it, show them, not by telling them, but by living it. Let your life become the proof. Let your presence become the result. You don't need to convince anyone when your habits already speak for you. And stay with me, because next we're going to hit the core, the final blow. The moment where you stop trying to be attractive and become someone who doesn't need to be. Because that's when the world starts paying attention for real.